Good evening and welcome to Celebrating Hispanic Heritage. I'm Patrick Little.
And I'm Kate Walsh. Over the next half hour, we'll be taking a look at stories of impact from the Latino community across the U.S. and many right here in our community.
This Hispanic Heritage Month, the theme is celebrating pioneers of change, shaping the future together. Our Alex Torres-Perez shows us how a local nonprofit is helping to shape relationships between police and the largest Hispanic group in the state.
To become a Providence police officer, you have to go to the academy where they go through cultural competency training. But some officers are taking that training to the next level.
Me growing up in the South Side area, a majority they're Dominicans.
Alex Diaz and his family are a part of that community, which is why he jumped at the opportunity to volunteer and travel to the Dominican Republic as part of the Lights and Sirens humanitarian basketball tournament for law enforcement.
And I was thrilled to do so.
He went to his family's town of Moca and was able to give back for the first time, giving away supplies, books, and toys to kids.
I was like, oh my God, this is a blessing.
He now makes it a yearly visit, making sure to bring a new Providence police officer with him every year.
For them to experience that and then they take pictures and video is a touching moment.
It's also a learning moment, giving officers a new perspective on the community they serve.
They can maybe have a better understanding of maybe some of the challenges that they faced in their country, and maybe the reactions or the interaction could go a lot more positive because now you have an understanding of who you're dealing with.
Which is what the founder of Lights and Sirens says his mission is all about.
There are some bad actors in law enforcement. There are some bad actors that are civilians, but that doesn't mean it's the totality of everybody. We need to try to correct the wrongs from the past by starting to work with those that are here.
Diaz says he has a group of about 9 Providence police officers heading to the Dominican Republic this February. It's important to note that these officers are doing all of this on their own time with their own money, which really just shows their heart of service. We have more information about Lights and Sirens and the work they do locally on this story on our website, WPRI.com. Reporting in studio, I'm Alex Torres-Perez, 12 News.
From Rhode Island, we now head out to California. The first Latino U.S. Poet Laureate, Juan Felipe Herrera, son of California farm workers throughout his career. He became an award-winning poet, children's author, retired professor, and his resume goes on.
At the age of 75, he spends his days in Central California, where he sat down with Hannah Gonzalez to reflect on his lifetime of achievements.
Si atrapé un puñado de palabras. If I grabbed a handful of words that I had never really heard y esparcí sobre un párrafo, and I spread them on a big paragraph so I could write at least a story, a magnificent story.
Words like these took Juan Felipe Herrera from Valor, a small California labor community, to the Library of Congress.
Imagine.
In 2015, he became the first Latino U.S. Poet Laureate after serving 2 terms as California's Poet Laureate.
And now you're going to go all around the United States. Oh, that's going to be so much fun. And you're going to meet audiences. They're going to be giant audiences.
From a young age, Herrera fell in love with the art of storytelling, as his mother would sing him corridos, or Mexican ballads.
A las 11 de la noche estábamos desesperados, nos montaron en un coche para Kansas mancornados. At 11 o'clock at night, we were out there, we were feeling very desperate, and a van came up and took us away with handcuffs on.
The song tells a story of Border Patrol agents taking the family away.
That's quite a message going on when I was a kid.
He came from humble beginnings. Herrera's parents were migrant workers who moved from town to town for work.
I noticed the life we lived. Later on, I could reflect on it and write about it.
He was offended by the negative language the national media used to describe migrant workers, people just like his parents.
Invaders, that's who we are. So you tend to ingest all that, and you become that phrase.
So he set out to reshape how his community was portrayed, never thinking it would turn into a career.
Only because we never talked about careers. We just lived day to day to survive.
Over the past 50 years, he's published nearly 40 books in both English and Spanish, with the goal that readers can take away a better understanding of one another.
There's too many negative depictions of each other and of all groups. And that's what makes distance, fear, and anger boil up.
As portrayed, his children's book, Super Cilantro Girl, is all about a young girl who uses her newly found powers to save her mother crossing the U.S.-Mexico border.
People do get stopped there, and they get put in some kind of, I don't know, it could be those chicken wires or it could be a holding tank, and that's very painful. So I said, I'm going to open that up.
The book was eventually adapted into a play and performed throughout California. With his laureate days behind him, Herrera now spends his time making frequent visits to the elementary that bears his name.
What was going through your head when that happened?
That's a great experience. That's the experience.
An incredible honor, considering education was a privilege his parents did not have. His father never stepped foot into a classroom, and for his mother,
she was only made it to 3rd grade in El Paso, and that was a lot of grade, and she wasn't able to go beyond.
With a lifetime of beautifully written literature to his name, when asked what he is most proud of,
I'm most proud of when I read in front of children.
Playful at heart, Herrera knows exactly how to keep them engaged. He wastes no time instilling in them that, like him, they are equipped to do or become anything.
My heart and mind. And body contain the future. I tell them, before I go, I want to let you know that you, everyone here, has a beautiful voice. And that's who you are. That's your inner self.
A voice that one day could become something great, maybe even the next United States Poet Laureate.
Coming up next, we head to a popular local restaurant and learn about their Latin roots.
Welcome back. This Hispanic Heritage Month. We are shining the light on great local Hispanic cuisine.
Valerie Moravi caught up with one of the owners of Los Andes restaurant, gives us an insight and a look at their Latin roots.
Los Andes, considered a South American delight.
It's become a very unique operation throughout the years. Definitely a destination place where people have learned to come to see our culture, taste our culture, hear our culture.
Los Andes was established nearly 2 decades ago by 3 brothers who immigrated from Cochabamba, Bolivia, with their parents in pursuit of the American dream.
Both my parents, I'm very extremely grateful for them showing us that work ethic, that you come, you do, and you don't put your head down until it's done. That's what the American dream is about, is working as hard as you can and believing in what you want to achieve and knowing that it's possible.
Located here on Charleston Avenue in Providence. Once inside, a warm and unique atmosphere will transport you all the way to South America.
Remember, it was an article that somebody wrote on my father's restaurant that said, cuisine from Los Andes. And that always stuck to me because Los Andes is not just Peruvian and Bolivian. It's a stretch of mountains that go through South America that was able to, play around with chimichurris from Argentina and, of course, the Peruvian and Bolivian cuisine.
Well, Los Andes tries to honor all different flavors for all different types of palates, especially with this delicious churrasco anticuchero. Let's try. Don't tell my mom.
Even though we're thousands of miles away from South America, Los Andes has made sure to share those cultures and traditions with the community.
And it's heartwarming because the support that we get from our community, again, every single culture, and that's what makes this place unique, is the diversity of our clientele.
All right, coming up on 12 News, we are taking an in-depth look at the 12 News digital original series Doce Informa and how it helps to shine a light on our local Hispanic community. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we take a look at the stories that shape the Latino community throughout the United States and here in our community. And right here at 12 News, we're proud to bring you Doce Informa, our Spanish language digital show. Joining me to share more about it are our contributors to it, Delia Rodriguez-Masjon, Alex Torres-Perez, and Valerie Moravi. Thank you so much for being here today and for what you're doing for our community. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking people from Latin America, from Spain, from all over the world in Rhode Island and South South Coast, Massachusetts. So this is huge what you've been doing over the past, how long would you say now?
It's been over a year right now. So we just inaugurated the second year of doing Doce Informa. Rhode Island has one of the largest, the fastest growing Latino communities in the state. And we're so small that many times we don't see it. But we're approximately, I would say, based from the last census to now, close to 200,000 Latinos in the state of Rhode Island.
So this is a really important outlet for people to be able to get their local news in a way they might not otherwise be able to get by watching television and watching online.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people that are newly arrived in the country, they're looking for information and they're looking for outlets that can provide that. So with our reporters, with the show, with Doce Informa, we can really bring the information that's important to the community.
And it's really expanded in what you're able to do. So Valerie, tell me about some of the stories that you do during Doce Informa tapings and what people can watch.
Yeah, actually, well, I just moved here a couple months ago and I was also shocked to find out the diversity in the state. And I was shocked to find out that there's so many organizations out there, nonprofit, profit, and the fact that we are providing those resources to the community, it was such a beautiful thing because I'm Hispanic. I want to be able to get access to those resources. So the fact that we're doing this is just like bigger than what I thought. You know, when it first started, it was, yeah, let's put it out there, let's do it. But once you're there to meet the people, it's like there's a need. And I think it just became a lot more special and important. I mean, obviously it's important to inform the people, but it was just, wow, to me, it was shocking. So for me, it's been great. The experience has been amazing. And to serve my community too is just a little, you know, more special. Absolutely.
Sure.
With music and food on the side, why not, right? So I think it's been great so far, yes.
And Alex, too, you moved here from, was it Florida?
So I was actually previously working in Alabama.
Okay.
And for me, giving news in Spanish has always been a personal mission because when I first moved from Puerto Rico to Florida when I was 10 years old, one thing I noticed was that there was just no news in Spanish. So when I started my career, I always made it a mission to, you know, provide that service to the Hispanic community because I would see my dad watching news from Puerto Rico and I was always curious, like, what's happening here? What's happening in my home or my community? And so coming here, I thought it was great that we already had a Spanish newscast here and to be able to tell the stories of our community and share that with others, it's been a blessing. So.
And people are really happy about it. People are just coming forward and really like, thank you so much. They are actually saying that to us. And it's just not just doing my job, but I think it's our right
passion and mission.
And I've been in the state for 37 years. When I came, we were barely about 40,000 Latinos. So I've seen the growth, and that's why I was saying, you know, I did work for the census one year and saw that every 10 years, the Latino population in Rhode Island is the one that maintains the population in order for us to maintain 2 congressional seats. So it's very important. And also having worked in Spanish media for the last 20 odd years, it's really important to have that local connection, that local information, that connection with the organizations, but also with the mainstream community, know what's going on. So this is a great avenue for that.
So what kinds of stories are you providing? I know I see you all doing interviews in our special room that we have for the tapings. And so are people coming out to you, community leaders coming out to you, or are you seeking them? It kind of sounds like it's a mix at this point, right?
I think it is. I think it definitely is a mix. I know I like to focus a lot on like hard news, kind of like what's going on, what do people need to know about what's going on in their community, but also we highlight a lot of our community leaders. Like for example, a few months ago, we just ordained our first priest that was Hispanic, and that there was so many people that went to this ordination, and you know, it's important to show people that, you know, we're here and that we tell their stories as well.
Excellent. It's been a diverse topics of conversations from politics to, again, community. It's just a mix of a lot of things, and I think that's what's all about, right? And culture and music, I'm down for that always.
Oh yeah.
But it's also important, I think, 2 other aspects. One is information. People want to buy a house, people want to find a job, or whatever it is. We bring those organizations that provide that information, the how-to, and be able to provide that information. Also are connecting them with the websites and links and all that. But then it's also the human stories, right? Because people love to see themselves reflected. When somebody tells their story of either how they started a business a long time ago, or how they came to this country, or how they got to where they are inspired. They see themselves reflected in those Latinos, and they want to see more.
So for people who want to watch, where can they find it, and how often do you tape? Give us all that information so people can find it.
I tape once a week. I do Tuesdays. I can, we constantly posting things. Even it's not my story, we're posting events coming up, special events where they can get information about, financial help, mental health, and we're constantly posting on our Facebook page, Dos Informa.
Dos Informa, and then on our website?
Website, dosinforma.com. I almost said it in Spanish because I'm so used to saying it in Spanish, but dosinforma.com. So dosinforma.com. And also, if you go to just our WPRI.com website, there should be a link there as well, so you can access it that way as well.
And I'm taping 3-4 times a week. I try to do at least 4 interviews, 5 interviews as needed to ensure that we have that connection with the community. So because of my role in the community and having done communications for so long, people know that I'm out there doing this and are really excited. So they know that this is the best way with Alex and Valerie and myself to be able to reach the community. So.
Excellent. Thank you, ladies, so much for everything you're doing and continue to do. And
thank you.
We have all that information on our website at WPRI.com.
And there's still more to come, how one woman is using her heritage to break barriers in the boxing ring.
Proving women belong at the center of the boxing world, not just in the ring, but behind the scenes, too.
This Hispanic Heritage Month, meet an Indiana boxer who, for the last 2 decades, has used her culture as a driving force for her to break barriers for future female fighters.
The beautiful thing about boxing is we don't have to understand the same words. We just have to understand those hands and the movement of the head and the feet.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yep.
When it's time to put her boxing gloves on, Susana Rodriguez Griffin goes into the ring with the intent to represent.
I am the first Latina female boxer here in the state of Indiana. Matamoros is where my grandfather came from, and that's where I have a lot of history and roots from.
That history represented by this sombrero and cotton plant.
2, 3, 2.
They hang just above her training ring at the gym she owns in Northwest Indianapolis, SRG Boxing and Training.
Do it again.
Shoot, shoot, shoot. Yeah, yeah.
Susana began boxing in the early 2000s as a way to learn to defend herself.
My dad said, remember, we come from the other side of the railroad tracks. What do you mean by that? We're different. We have ganas. We've got guts. And so he said, go out there and do everything you got. Put it in the ring.
Those wise words from her father came before her very first fight, and she's held on to that mindset, becoming a decorated fighter.
This is the belt I want to fight for.
She has 6 national belts and plans to add to her collection now as a professional boxer. Though her rise to the pro level hasn't been easy.
Yeah. With all my accolades that I had accomplished as an amateur fighter, it still wasn't enough. When I wanted to become pro, I'd knock on the doors and nobody would open up. We've got 3 amateur shows opening up that card.
That's why in January, she created La Jefa Promotions.
La Jefa means the female boss.
Its focus is to build not just professional fighters, but more specifically, female boxers.
Just having representation is a huge factor in this.
She actually lives what she does. She walks the walk. She doesn't just talk it, she actually lives it.
1, 3, 5, 2. Her husband ready to cheer her on ringside.
2, last one. She's a great fighter.
When La Jefa Promotions hosts its 2nd professional boxing show in downtown Indianapolis, September 21st.
As far as being a Latina, a lot of times we are assumed to just be a card girl, right? Or to be the behind the scenes worker. Not necessarily to have the hands and the head, the hat, to hold some of those management and those lead roles.
But she's able to do it all. She's Latina, a pro boxer, a mother of 2, a coach, a business owner, promoter, an official referee and judge for USA Boxing in Indiana, and an advocate for future female fighters. And as long as there are barriers for her to knock out,
the persistency that she has, to go around these barriers or go under, go through them, it's something that's non-stop and for.
You'll see Susanna laced up, ready to take on the fight.
I'm excited for what's next.
Yeah.
What's next? I don't know. I know September 21st I'm gonna win, and after that we see what comes in.
All right, still to come, exploring a traditional cultural folk dance and how it's uniting generations. That's next. Earlier during Hispanic Heritage Month, the State House held a celebration in honor of Hispanic culture here in Rhode Island.
The free event, hosted by Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos and General Treasurer James Diosa, featured food from local Latin vendors as well as lots of music and activities honoring the Ocean State's Latino community.
Ballet Folklorico is a traditional cultural folklore dance, and it has characteristics of ballet performed throughout Mexico and Central America.
One studio in California passing on those stories and traditions told through dance to the next generation. Photojournalist Elliot Macias gives us a closer look.
Our dance studio started in the year 2000, and we started as Ballet Folklorico El Tapatío in El Cajon City. Then after a couple of years, we started a new dance studio in Encinitas. And in 2014, I started teaching at the University of San Diego. So all together became Ballet Folklorico El Tapatío de San Dieguito. And this year, we are officially Ballet Folklorico San Diego Dance Company.
I've been doing Ballet Folklorico for about a month. I'm fairly new to the program. As a dancer, when I looked up folklorico styles, I found this studio and I felt like it would be a perfect way to celebrate my culture and also learn a new style of dance. To me, this style is unique because there's so much heritage behind it. Every dance tells a story, the costumes are really specific to the region, and I think it's beautiful to be able to see it represented on stage.
Everybody can learn. A 4-year-old till 70-year-old, all ages. They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn part of the Mexican culture. They're gonna experience the beauty. They're gonna develop self-confidence on stage, and they're gonna feel how people embrace our folklore and how they value. We participate with other communities, ballet folkloricos. Every year there's a big event where like 50 ballet folkloricos get together, and we just expose our art to the audience.
It's really interesting how like the postura or the posture is different in every state. Like Jalisco, it's very much like we say in Spanish, coqueta. It's like flirtatious. Jarabe Tapatío, it's a dance where two couples dance together like they're in love. And it's very much a lot of movement of the neck. To somebody who does not identify as Hispanic or Latino, I would say that they should feel very welcome to join this type of dance. I don't think that this culture is specifically only for people who identify with the Hispanic culture. I think it's important that everybody embodies this beautiful dance so that we can keep the tradition alive. And when other people can enjoy that with us, it makes it so much more beautiful.
All right, thank you for joining us as we celebrate Hispanic heritage.
And you can always find more at WPRI.com and join us weekday mornings on 12 News.